All right.
So I'm multitasking and eating a salad while we do this because it's just been a crazy morning. Hi, Ned. Ned, we started messing with Keybase last week, and we were working on sharing a file and like having it sort of pop up in all of our like folders, I guess. We're still not positive, I don't think, how Keybase works in terms of like what's the backend. Is it IPFS? Is it are they just using Amazon cloud servers? We don't know what they're doing, but it's serving as a prototype for us to have an identity management system that is enabling access to a file. And I think the next step, based on my recollection, is that we were going to start looking at the API a little bit and see if there was any ways for us to modify it so we can issue permissions for that file. Is that right, Jim?
I don't know that was what I was thinking of.
What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking of how we were going to grant the capabilities to view the items through.
Hey Jim, I'm having trouble hearing you.
No.
Jim, but isn't that what I was just saying? As far as, don't we need access to the Keybase API in order to do that?
Well, I suppose that's certainly an approach.
Because here's the thing. Once we put the file up on Keybase, I can share it with you four through Keybase. But if I want people outside of Keybase to see that file, how do they see that file?
Yeah.
This sounds an awful lot like Dropbox to me.
Dropbox is our solution?
I mean, Dropbox, you share files. People, you could give them permission to a file, to a directory of files.
Yeah, if Dropbox actually hashed those files, it would actually probably serve our purpose for this case, based on where we're at.
Isn't it up to us to do the hashing?
Well, we're hashing the file, but then the location is hashed in IPFS or Keybase file system. So there's two hashes. The location hash.
But you can hash the location. I mean, you got to share a link, and you could hash that if you wanted to. I mean,
the link itself.
I don't know. It just sounds a lot to me like we're reinventing the wheel, and I'm not quite sure where the blockchain comes into play.
The blockchain is where we're going to store the certificate of authenticity and the smart contract, and then manage in token management. For right now, we can't store a file on the blockchain yet.
Well, yeah, because it's just too expensive.
Yeah, so right now we're dealing though with where are we storing the file, right? We have to figure some kind of system out that enables us to store the file someplace, have it be secure, and a hashable location. So like we're using Keybase as a prototype. I mean, ideally, I would like us to be using IPFS for this. But for now, it seems a lot easier because there's a user interface to use Keybase in order to do that. And again, this is just for a prototype. Like if we can just get some type of prototype, we can always start swapping out other solutions later as they become available or feasible for us to use.
Yeah, and I guess, there's a lot of issues in terms of, how we control access, or how we want to control access. I mean, if we want, no, I was thinking of taking the step of defining the network object in Rolang, which is basically defining the map of its components, and for now, just providing access to the name of it. And if we assume the name is unguessable, that controls access to it to some extent.
The name as opposed to the IPFS hash, because the IPFS hash, we have to publicize the IPFS hash in order to prove ownership. That's one of the legal constraints. Like, is that, yeah, so that has to become public. So therefore you're saying the name of the file is the thing that we use to get access to it? Why not use a key?
Yeah, well, on the key-based file system, it's it's like a directory. So we basically have a path to the file, but
well, you want both, right?
You
want a human readable name, and then you want the actual ticket mechanism. I don't know what I don't have a good.
Well, I don't know that the ticketing mechanism is the right thing to focus on right now.
What?
Like, I see that as being a secondary process that happens after we've just established the file itself. You know what I mean? And
establish the file, establish a means of delegating capabilities.
Yeah, let's not worry about access right now. That's something that we can iterate and build in later. And like, it's because like we don't know how someone would want that to work, and so we want to leave it open. Almost like there's hooks, so people can sort of hook into it and then be like, okay, I'm going to use this network object, as you're calling it, with X, Y, and Z content management system. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, let's leave that part open, because that's the part that we need to figure out if we're monetizing this. Yeah, that's where the monetization part comes in, where we create scarcity. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Versus just like putting a network object up, identifying it through the certificate of authenticity and the smart contract, having them all self-reference, right? And then playing with that and seeing what we can do just with that structure.
Right. So I guess you open some editor and you go to your definition of a network object and you start populating it.
Well,
as a map.
But how is that going to relate though? I just don't understand, like conceptually how that relates to Keybase. Like how does the Rolang contract identify and work with Keybase?
It really doesn't.
Nice.
Okay, that's what I say. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to say, that we have a Keybase file and we have a name for the Keybase file. Okay, and that's what we're going to represent in the art object, that this is a Keybase file. It has an address, which is Keybase
Yeah, I guess that's enough in a certain sense if it's got a permanent address for the file. I mean, there's contingencies because when you sell the file, you're going to need to change the permanent address to the location of whoever the collector is or the person that owns the file. But basically, for our purposes, the Keybase file directory and the hash location, the hash of that location, and then the hash of the file serves to be sort of create that network object, right? Then we use DID and Rolang to then identify to sort of we insert those hashes into those other two places, and that creates the framework. Have you guys played with that thing, Jim? The one the hashing protocol that you sent us a couple of weeks ago?
No, I haven't, no.
I'd be really curious to try that out. Like if we can try hashing a file using that and then uploading that to Keybase.
Keybase has its own hashing built into it.
Well, if the file leaves Keybase, we want to make sure that it's the same hash. The file itself is hashed. So if it goes to a different storage platform, it's still identified as the same file.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I see what you're wanting to convince yourself of. Yeah. Okay.
Gary, you're in rare form this morning. Or afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, what am I trying to convince myself of? That an object, a digital object, it has a thingness, that it has its own ontology. And so you disagree with me, Gary, on that on a fundamental level?
No, I've been thinking about that as well. And I like both the fact that the object can have a fixed location determined by the contract, and that I mean, of course, that can be moved, but there can also be a lot of other things done with a file in a permanent location. And I see a lot of what we're doing with our contract will be dealing with that, such as file permissions and permission electronic rights transfer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be done outside of just moving the file. I mean, the file itself in that location sort of has a permanent existence according to its hash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, its existence could be, revoked or transferred according to the contract.
Well, the thing is that this isn't just about the technology instantiating the object, right? There's also the legal framework, right? This happens in conjunction. If like the American legal system isn't there to back this up, it doesn't actually work as intellectual property, because then it's just any other digital file, right? And there maybe is no uniqueness, but because we're using the framework that was developed specifically for conceptual art in the 1950s and 60s, to help instantiate this, that's what actually works together with the technology to create that ontology. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like the idea of the process creating the object itself.
Yeah, it's like the technology itself doesn't create the object. I mean, you can create artificial scarcity using a proof of work consensus algorithm, blah, 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 but you can create non-fungible tokens, right? But fundamentally, the system can have its own logic, I guess, that works within itself, but there's still like society and there's still like art, right? Which functions in society. It's not just this self-referential thing, right? Like art has to interface with society. Art does constitute intellectual property outside of like a non-fungible token. Like, we're not talking about tokens, we're talking about art. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe that doesn't make any sense. So like a non-fungible token can exist within the construct of a blockchain, right? Because of the technical system reinforces it, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so a non-fungible token doesn't need the government or anyone else, the legal system, artists, art institute. The non-fungible token doesn't need anyone to back it up and say that's a thing. It's like, well, that's a thing self-referentially in the context of like the Ethereum blockchain. Art, though, moves beyond the blockchain. It's not just about the blockchain. It's something that already has a legal framework in place to help it exist. And we're using the blockchain to help reinforce that and create new forms of materiality that maybe weren't as easily enforceable in relationship to art. So that's why we need to, I'm saying, yes, we have to establish the thingness of a file using hashing the file, having the file stored in distributed storage has a location hash. That helps, but that helps because then we can publicly announce that we have that hash, that it's attached to this token, which is embedded in this wallet, and that's what basically proves ownership of that thing. As far as California intellectual property law is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why the smart contract is important, because in the smart contract, we're outlining the nature of what the work is and then how the property exists as something that can be owned or collected or not collected, or maybe destroys collection, I don't know, or forms some kind of kibbutz or whatever, whatever we want to do. But then there's the certificate of authenticity, which basically is tracking provenance. It's saying, this is a thing, it's been owned by Eric, and then Eric sold it to Ned, and then Ned sold it to Gary, right? And what that does is it establishes that this hashed file at this hashed location was owned by these people, and therefore they can substantiate that is the actual thing itself. Should I stop talking?
No, it's all good. I have to say, so I just want to say one thing. Everything you're saying is correct. You have to realize, though, that there's a little bit of a mixed metaphor by using a non-blockchain storage solution. So, and just hear me out. So everything you're saying is correct, right? But if you're storing this on Keybase, which is a centralized concern that is not owned by the consortium, right? Keybase has its own owners and it's centralized, which means that even though you're building all this scaffolding around it, they could kind of underpin the whole thing and kind of come in and say, all right, you want access to that artwork? We don't like what you guys are doing, so we're going to charge you $100 million and hold you ransom. And this is, right, this is the fear that people have. This is why they want to use a decentralized blockchain. If you started streaming music off your own Amazon server and you started making money, Amazon at some point is going to come in and say, okay, we're tripling your monthly costs.
I mean, I agree with Ned. This was my...
We're agnostic about storage.
I'm just making the point that we've kind of mixed the metaphor, because actually maybe we haven't, because this whole non-fungibility is actually is a control. And you could say, no matter where that control mechanism is, you could say the control itself is a centralized control, like Maxwell Smart, if anybody gets that metaphor. So we have control, right? But in this case, we want that. We want that kind of control, right? Because we don't want the whole world having access to this artwork. So there has to be some control in place, which is
Well, we get the control by requiring they execute our contract on the rolling network or on the R-Chain network according to the rules of the contract.
Right, but there's a disconnect. I agree with you. Now there's a disconnect though where the file actually is physically or metaphysically.
Well,
Because,
the contract can see the file in lots of different places.
no. The file itself, the artness, the art thingy, has to exist somewhere, and that is existing outside the blockchain. So it's existing, right? Unless, Eric is actually going to open up his own server farm.
Well,
right?
which is what we want eventually, is to create an off-chain shard,
Yes.
which
right.
is basically running off Raspberry Pis or something.
Right, which is perfect. But for now, I just need to realize that, and I think you've said this many times, we're just doing a proof of concept, right? And I would rather not go down to me, it seems like to start writing against an API is a lot of work for something that we know is going to have to be torn out.
But I think to Gary's point, I think it was Gary said this just before. It's like we don't actually need to mess with the API. Or Jim said this. There's the location of the file on on Keybase, and there's the hash. So it's giving us those two things, which is kind of all we need for right now. I agree with you 100%, Ned. Like, I'm not a super huge fan of doing it this way, but like the IPFS thing, I think is just going to take too much time for us. Or it seemed like it was going to take a little bit more overhead than we have. So like doing this in this simple way is Gary's solution, which I think is a really good one. It's easy, it's friendly, it's nice to look at. It's just a way for us to prototype it. But you're right. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, using a centralized platform is not the right way to go for this. Yeah, ultimately. But we'll get there eventually. Maybe in a month we'll use IPFS once we've established this. We've realized its limitations.
So I just want to remind everybody, I've got my standing meeting at 10:30, so I've got 2 minutes. But yeah, so if I just want to say, so if we know we have the file location and the hash, those could be the input parameters to the smart contract, right?
Exactly.
And I'll say we, but Gary and Jim could actually just write a smart contract, right? That stores that data on.
That's kind of where we were.
Okay, excellent.
Jim, you want to show the prototype contract in the channel there?
I know we started coding last week.
Cool.
I don't know if that's where we want to go right now, but because I think there are a lot of other issues we need to talk about.
All right, when are we meeting next? Because are we taking this up at the 12 o'clock meeting tomorrow?
We could, unless someone else has something more interesting.
Do a 12 p.m. meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, there's a weekly
DApp developers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. So, well, we can certainly I can add that as a topic of discussion. So earlier in the day is the new wallet development and testing. So depending on how that meeting and conversation goes, there may be some agenda items from that session later. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
But I'll add blockchain art to the DApp developer working group for tomorrow.
Great.
I don't know, is that East Coast time, 12 p.m. or?
3 p.m. East Coast.
3 p.m. East Coast, yeah. Pacific.
I don't think I can. I can't be there for that. Peace, Ned.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
See you, Ned.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm tied up Tuesday afternoons. It's like a busy time. I'm in class and then I teach. So I can't do Tuesday afternoon. But So in terms of like, yeah, last week Jim started mocking something up in Rolang.
I did. I was just looking for documentation here on the network object and what it had. I don't. I'm not sure where we got to.
We were reading through it on the Keybase file system.
Yeah, I was able to access the file from the command line, and
On Keybase, you were?
yeah, okay. Then okay. There's things we can do on Keybase, like send the file to people or things like that. And I was just kind of not caring where the independent of where the file is stored. I just wanted to represent an art object in a Roland contract.
Mm-hmm. So I think we need two things for that. We need the file hash, and we need the Keybase hash and location. So what I'm wondering is, maybe can we take a step back and look at that hashing protocol and see how easy that is to play with?
Yeah, the Keybase files are signed.
But there's also a hash that's issued, yeah? There was a hash under Gary's file.
What hash is he talking about?
Eric, I said that it will produce a hash. Let me see if I can pull up my my bash and my Keybase bash and get the documentation on that.
There was like a string. There was an alphanumeric string under the file. I'm in Keybase. I'm not in the version. You would need to reshare it with me so I could look. I think I have two Keybase accounts now because I couldn't get to my other computer.
Yeah, Jim had to create a new account one time as well. You want to avoid doing that, or figure out how to tie your accounts together. I mean, different accounts on Keybase are actually quite valuable.
Having two different ones?
Yes.
Why?
Well, first, they pay $21 a month right now for every account you have. So.
Yeah, well, there are certain restrictions on it in terms of the activity of the account.
Well, they said you have to have a GitHub account as well, but I've been getting it in every account I hold. So, I just say different user accounts on Keybase are not a wasted exercise, as long as you can, sign into them.
Yeah, I just have two different computers with two different accounts right now.
You can tie those together.
Really, I'll try that. I mean, first I want to figure out how to get the Lumen drops.
you're going to find you need you're probably going to need a bot account at least, and then a personal account to use the web interface. And on a single machine, it's not real easy to move back and forth between two accounts. But if I keep my tablet running Keybase, and I can always log in on that as one account, and then on my development laptop, I use the GUI bash to send commands.
Interesting. Hey guys, I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. Hold on. Be right back.
Gary, I'm looking at the Starry Plow flag,
Yes.
and were we able to see? So I see the file. And did we see the hash of the file the other week?
Okay, that would be something for me to sign a document. Okay, paper key. Generate paper keys for recovering your account. Wait. Manage Keybase PGP keys. Rekey status and approve. Proof. Generate a new proof. Does anyone want to see my screen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and share.
Okay, here I am logged into a Git bash, and I ran the Keybase command, just the straight Keybase command, and it just gives you a help.
Okay.
So here are our options with we can perform file system operations. Okay, now down here in this section, starting about here, we get into the commands that we probably need to focus on.
Okay.
Jim, do you have any suggestions?
Um,
Right.
What are you trying to do? Get the hash?
Yeah, file. It's probably a file system command, right? So we want to go.
So you use certutil.
Say again.
Certutil hash file.
Under what?
Hash file, and then
But this is not in Keybase.
that's Windows.
Search. Util. Huh. Do I have to do it at can I do it here?
I guess it would be something like.
Yeah, it's got some.
Do you have a do you have a K colon? Okay, a slash K slash? Can you? I guess you can't list. I guess. Where's your file? Your Keybase files?
Oh, my K. I'm sorry.
K drive.
So it is here.
So
So it's There's the path to it, right?
Hmm.
So Eric, I was asking Gary if he was able to provide the hash for the file
I
Starry
put
Plow.
I put the command in the chat.
All right, let me look at it.
You have to substitute the path for the file.
How do I always get in this situation where I'm going to stop sharing because I can't find the cert. Okay, now I guess the easiest way to do it would just be to start sharing again, and I'm back to where I wanted to be. So then I go to here. Okay, so I wanted to say, how do I get that path to that? Jim,
I'm sorry.
how do I get the path to that file into that command you gave me?
You can try right-clicking, but it'll put it the wrong way. It'll have the wrong kind of slashes. Okay. What? Yeah, just type the path, but you gotta fit. It looks like I have that slash backwards. I have the K colon. No,
To be
that's not the way you access it in the shell. You do slash K slash. I'm sorry.
You do what?
/.
You have to use forward slashes. Yeah, that path is wrong. Slash K slash public Gary slash like that. There you
Okay,
go.
I think that's what I've got. File PNG. Now I've got to change the name of the file, right?
Right, and I think the directory is Gary Coulter.
Oh, that's easy enough for me to check. Coulter 250px Starry Plow. I want to rename that. I want to get that out of there. Copy. I don't know why I didn't get all of it. I want to go back to here. Agreed?
Um,
Just
okay.
try it.
Yeah,
Unexpected. Doesn't like those.
parentheses. You'd have to put it in quotes.
Put the whole thing in quotes.
Put the file name in quotes. I mean, you could just put.
All the way to the PNG.
Yeah, at least past the parentheses. Where did you put the starting parentheses?
Okay, I got the hash now. What do I do with it?
Oh, awesome.
So somebody else want to try that and see if they get the same hash?
Could you copy and paste that into the chat
Yeah.
window? So I'm kind of creating a historical record of our experimentation here.
Okay. So you'll have to run to run that cert. I didn't get the whole thing. I didn't get the cert util at the front. You want that too?
Well, if you could actually just copy everything from the cert util all the way down to file command completed successfully.
Gotcha. If I can get my computer to respond again.
Now, you're querying the hash that Keybase is issuing.
No, we're creating our own hash locally on my machine, and you're going to try to do that same thing, or someone else is going to try to reproduce that hash.
And it should come out to be the exact same hash because it's a hash of that file.
Wow, it didn't like what I pasted in. Oh, there it is.
Okay, thank you.
But like if I download the file and then try hashing it, theoretically it will produce a different hash, yeah?
No. If you hash that file that you have access to on your K drive, you better get the same thing.
Yeah.
Even if like one bit is missing or it gets screwed up in transfer?
Absolutely. It'll I mean, if anything gets changed, you'll get a totally different hash.
Right. Well, Eric, yeah, hopefully when you during the exchange, everything comes across completely, and everything, if you have everything, every little bit, and then you hash it, you should get the same hash. But if there's one thing missing from the transfer, then you would get a different hash, but then you would just do it again.
So the way in which we create uniqueness then is hashing also the location of the file or and the time of upload. So it's like hashed in time and space.
No, what you just got hashed was just that file. Anything else you want to hash in there, you have to do it yourself.
How would you do that? Like, what does the other?
You encapsulated another level, and we've got to do that anyway. Our art object is it may contain meta objects. It may contain, objects within objects.
Nice.
So, you create the file you want to hash. If you want the location in there, you put it in there.
Like just in a text file?
It's however you want to put it in there. I mean, you've got to have some sort of proof, though.
Well, if you right-click on any PNG file, you get the metadata. The metadata shows the time that the file was created. So in the right-click metadata, you have different fields that are available, and you can, and I'm not sure how to go in and edit that, with a file metadata editor, but you can update that information, except for the timestamp. The timestamp of when a file was created, that can't be altered. So, and that's because and that allows a graphics file to be admissible in a court of law. That metadata for the timestamp is unalterable.
Interesting. So the metadata gets baked into the file. It isn't alterable?
Well, so any PNG file or a JPEG file, if you right-click on it, it'll have the timestamp of when that file was created. That timestamp, you can, when it was created, at that moment, it's fixed.
So theoretically, shouldn't that then produce a different hash if you copy the file because of the timestamp?
The timestamp is the same time.
You're not hashing the timestamp when you hash that file, are you, Jim? You're only hashing the contents of the file.
All right.
So let me back up. If I take a picture of my car, when I take that picture of my car, it creates a a PNG file. The moment I took that picture, it created that timestamp. And every time, and that's that one moment of time, that's permanent. So whenever I make a copy or share that file, it has the same timestamp of when I originally took that picture. So that's the timestamp that never changes.
Yeah. So every device, everything that makes a file creates that timestamp.
But that's really not the information we're interested in. We define when it's art. We say when it's art, not the creation of the file time.
Okay.
No, but there has to be a way of using that, you know, or using a mechanism like that. So it further proves the authenticity of the file. So like what you're saying, Gary, if I'm understanding, is that we hash the file, and then after we hash that file, we create a secondary hash on top of it that includes that metadata.
That's a possibility. Yeah, you could do that. But I mean, again, who are you going to trust?
Who are you going to trust?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You know, a better a better way to prove a timestamp would be to put a picture of a newspaper in the file with, you know, and
Or a tweet.
Yeah, anything, any sort of proof of who you are and when it is. The
Yeah.
metadata of the file itself is, but you could easily document the fact that this file was put up no later than when this tweet happened, because
But wait. So we're doing the secondary hash, like it's happening. Like if we hash the file, right, and it doesn't include metadata, whatever, it's just the file, it's been hashed, right? We know that this is the actual, like if I have a video, right, and there's the archival quality uncompressed video, right? And then there's like the compressed sort of presentation video that I use. Now I can choose which one of those is the actual object, right? But if I choose,
or you could choose that all of them are the actual object.
yes, exactly. And this is like why I've been getting in fights with all the video artists, because like everyone's like, well, no, it's the art, it's the video, it's this type, it's that thing. It's like, no, it's all of those things. Point being that we hash it once. Now we know that that's the file, right? That's the thing that we're working with. That's the thing we're publishing as the art object. And then once it gets hashed in IPFS, that's a secondary location hash, you know, and that's all we need. We don't need the metadata. We just need to say like, okay, this file, which is replicable.
Thumbs up. I get it.
Okay, so we're hashing the file itself, whatever that file is, the versions, compressed, uncompressed, and then once you have that, that's the first hash, and then the second hash is you upload it to a location, IPFS, and then we're taking a hash of that, of the file with the location, and perhaps even a timestamp.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, like the timestamp that the file is uploaded to IPFS creates that uniqueness. So it's like basically you don't want to. If let's say I upload my file, right, and then I give Jim a copy just on a thumb drive, that invalidates it if Jim can then hash that file and then upload it again to IPFS and say, no, this is the actual file. It's like, no, he can't. It's a different thing entirely, right?
Right.
And the reason is because this time-stamped hashed file is living on IPFS, which is then being referenced throughout all these other locations. And you can trace provenance back to me, the artist.
Okay. I'm taking notes here.
You're taking notes?
Yeah.
Are you doing it in the group document?
Yeah, in our log blockchain art. So
Cool. Thank you for doing that, by the way. I'm like too impatient to like take notes. Take notes.
okay, so first step, and then maybe how I'll call these hash steps. Okay, so we hash the file. Step 1. Okay, step 2 is here, let me share my screen here. Okay, so hashing steps. Step 1, hash the file. Step 2, upload file to IPSF, or let's say upload to Keybase or IPSF.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we're going to take, then we're going to create, okay, so, well, we're going to create the hash, and the hash is going to contain, okay, hash contains, okay, what information do we want? Okay, we want the location, file location, and timestamp.
Yeah, and I think that's enough.
Okay.
To prove, because
I think maybe we want to use SHA-1 rather than SHA-512.
why? Well, I don't know what SHA-1 is.
Well, SHA-1 seems to be the only one that's sort of supported everywhere,
Okay.
and it's it's 160 bits, so it's not SHA-512 is kind of like really long.
Okay.
I don't know. It would be less problematical to use SHA-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess again, we can always upgrade it later to 512 if it becomes necessary.
Right. And we probably need to specify somewhere whether it's MDA or SHA or whatever. I don't know if there's something that's normally used. Maybe MDA is more prevalent.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what we end up using there will suggest itself as we move forward. So, but I'm comfortable with using SHA-1.
Okay. Okay. So first, step 1, hash the file, and that's going to be hash. That's going to be a hash on a local computer, correct? Just so as Gary did it, it's going to be hash file on local computer.
What's the difference between that program that Jim sent? What was it called? ISSP or something? And what Gary did, where he just did it in terminal, because the computer can just generate a hash in terminal. Is that right?
It's a standard algorithm, and so anybody's going to get the same hash no matter where they do it.
Where did you get it someplace else, Gary? I missed that.
I got it out of Git Bash.
Right, you typed in the command that I gave you, right?
Yes.
And that's the Windows command, right?
Unknown. Yeah, I think it is a Windows command as well.
SHA-256.
So what's in terms of like that other thing though? Let's see, do I have that window up still? Mm. Oh, ISCC. I mean, this seems like very full featured. Granular content management, content identification, decentralized issuance, content versioning. That's insane. So basically, you can, I mean, this is like really comprehensive. I mean, I haven't finished going through it yet. Here,
Okay. Okay. So these are the steps. Okay. So we're working through creating the distributed art object framework here, and in this framework we have steps 1 and 2.
yeah, I mean, I put all this in the outline. This is in the outline.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Well,
might harmonizing the outline at this point might, you know, with the outline might be a useful thing to do, because as I said in the channel, I reread that thing this weekend, and it was quite helpful to read it now with some context to add to it.
Yeah, like the 2-page thing that I posted in the Discord.
Well, yeah, it was just the blog.
Oh, the 20-page thing I posted.
Was that the 20-page thing? Yeah, it was long.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, no, I posted a 2-page version in our Discord. That's just the outline, because
Yeah,
the outline doesn't also. Oh yeah, my blog. I'm not sure. I think my blog is outdated.
Yeah, I recognized that, and I didn't worry about it too much. I was just satisfied that, you know, it answered a lot of my questions for me.
Yeah, the outline is still the same. It's just the outline doesn't show up on the Medium article.
okay. Here, could you let's see here. Post a link to the outline. I'm going to put the outline in our folder for blockchain art, so we can have that as well.
Yeah, and make a note that we reference the outline folder at this point and suggested harmonizing with it.
Yeah, it's here. It's in the Discord channel. Here. I just posted it.
It's already pinned to the channel.
Yeah.
Look at pinned items.
Well, then a reference to it would suffice. I don't even think we need the link.
Oh, well, is that different from what I just had up? This is what I. So I have that already in our folder, and this looks the same. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. I only, this is the only thing I posted. The other stuff,
okay,
I posted just to Medium because they're longer, and like I just posted this as a working document to our Discord because it was shorter, and I figured no one would read the longer one.
It would be good to resolve the comments.
Oh yeah, Lauren, she had some good stuff to say. Um,
So, yeah, you can respond to those or incorporate them, and then you can resolve them.
she told me I'm using the passive voice, and I wasn't actually certain what she meant. So I need to look at that.
Oh, that's I ran to I chased the ball. The little boy chased the ball. The ball was chased by the little boy. It's active and passive. You're um, I am running. I'm going for the object. Or so yeah, that's active and passive voice.
Yeah, I need to go. I need to make sure I'm just keeping one tense. Um, Yeah, so I didn't define any of these terms. Like I just put certificate of authenticity, and she's pointing out is she's like, what's an ownership agreement versus a license are very different things. Which is it? The certificate of authenticity is not an ownership agreement or a license. It's just establishing provenance, and that this is like a real thing. This is establishing the thingness of the object. I mean, I think my hope was I was going to go through each of these things and actually write out what they are. But I don't know. I think this is just a good starting point because I think it's going to adapt as we talk about it, you know? Like, I mean, I think but the point of this exercise was to give us a starting point just to work through, and then we're going to find different solutions and different ideas, you know, because you guys are going to come at this from different perspectives than me. And so I'm not really attached to a specific way of doing things, obviously. Well, I sort of am, but you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know if it makes sense for me to go through and like explain all of these things, because we're just going to go through them anyway.
Yeah, it's everything is kind of temporary at the moment just to get something working, and then after that first iteration, review what other tools and sources are available, update to those if necessary, and then perhaps at that time go ahead and update the article with an elaboration on definitions of what the objects are, or the
Tools,
definitions of
the tools are, yeah. I mean, because like it'll change depending on what tools we use, you know?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask a philosophical question.
Nice.
Is the art object, when we start talking about the representation of the art object, then we start talking about licenses, right?
Potentially licensing. Well, it's a specific type of intellectual property schema, you know, that I'm not dealing with right now. It's where I own this image and I'm allowing you to use it, right? Like I buy a Star Wars mug and it's shaped like R2D2. I don't own that mug. I don't own the likeness of that mug. Like I have use of that mug. I'm being granted use through Disney's license, you know, to use that mug. What we're describing here is a thing, and in my opinion, at least, it's a thing, you know, versus art generally doesn't do licensing, or that's a lie. All right, like the art object itself, like if you have a Picasso, the object is the object. Like there's no licensing scheme for Picasso painting, right? But
well, there are restrictions on where it can be displayed or who can display it.
those are secondary usage rights. I had this really like sleazy woman reach out to me a couple of weeks ago, or a month or two ago, trying to get me to help her with this project that she was working on dealing specifically with that issue. It's more of like a publishing thing. And there's like basically one company in New York that manages all of the fine art redistribution rights management stuff. And there's like one in every country, there's like one company that just basically handles those rights. So if I want to print that Picasso on a mug or on a poster, they're the ones that mediate those property rights, the reproduction of that image. What we're dealing with is like the painting itself. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm not sure it makes sense, but I think it helps me simplify the problem a bit.
Yeah, like that's like a really complex problem. It's a useful problem, and it's I don't know how lucrative. I mean, it's potentially really lucrative, but the problem is the market itself already has people doing that, you know, and so she would basically need to buy out the company that held all those rights.
I guess I wasn't bringing up that point I was just bringing it up as a point to my argument about let me just present a scenario to you. I want to this video is the art object. Once we're done, I want to charge 100 lumen per every click on the link to this art object through the
That's actually a great idea, Gary. We should edition these videos of us talking about the art object as the art object.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. That's what we should do. We've got how many of these? About 10?
Yeah, and we can make it retroactive, you know, in the contract that every time you access any one of these videos, you know, that's all in the contract. But my point is, how easy it would be for me to set up a robot command that looks for a click on a link to our art object and automatically withdraws 100 lumen from the account of the person who did that.
Well, it would be easy to do that. Well, no, it wouldn't be easy to do that, but that's within the realm of possibility.
No, I mean, it would be easy as in we could probably do that in 2 sessions with robot right now.
Yes.
We could put the link to this video in the channel and have it set up so it would draw
in Keybase, you mean?
Lumen from the account, from the wallet on Keybase of the person who clicked on the link.
So we're charging people an admission fee.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's just one of the unlimited number of licensings we could do. But notice here, we don't even have to charge them anything to do this. We could pay them to click on this link.
Oh. Well, so to me, that side of things is where the interesting art opportunity is, right? In creating like different scenarios where like, are we charging money? Are we paying money? are we giving money? It's like what is this? What is participation in this process? And
Well, yeah, well,
programming that could be the art itself, but like independent of that, there's still this other fundamental layer that needs to exist, the substrata, before we can sort of charge people 100 lumen admission fee, you know? It's like putting the cart before the horse, at least in my opinion, is putting the cart before the horse. You could start there as the starting point. I mean, that's like what the CryptoKitties types are doing, right?
well, I don't know that's what they're doing, but what I'm saying here is we're setting up a mechanism to allow people to either share value with us or gain value from us by clicking on our artwork.
Yeah. I mean, I think I like the idea of us creating a platform cooperative out of these meetings. And so if these meetings are the art, right, and we are now the artists, and basically participation in these meetings post-mortem, like after we're done with them, it becomes like an ongoing archive that
Oh,
people
sure.
that
And for, you can have your name added to the producers list in the credits in the future for, for becoming a sponsor or becoming a producer, and at first I was going to call this project director, but now I think I'm going to call it producer, because I think the producers are the most important part of any art project.
Yeah, I like it.
But that's a philosophical viewpoint.
Yeah, no, I was having a similar thought like last week. I'm like, we should do something with these meetings, as like sort of as the platform for the art. But I'm happy to hear you say that you're thinking about like that too, because it's like, it means maybe like rather than doing the karaoke project, we just develop this platform and then use these ongoing meetings as the source material for the thing.
Well, I saw your karaoke project as sort of a as sort of a superset of this basic functionality we're trying to build right now. But I got the karaoke project right away. I mean, I was all, I thought, oh, that's enough to make this work. But I think there are steps that we need to take, before we get there. And, the utility of what we're doing along the way is going to present itself. Like paying simply to join the channel on Keybase where we discuss, and this would be a decision amongst the artists of how much people should have to pay to join our Keybase channel. I should say, at this point in time, we should be paying them to join our Keybase channel, but you get the point.
Yeah,
That could be handled within the contract. You could say, oh, you want to join this channel? And they answer yes to Robot's query, and boom, it says, okay, we're going to draw 100 lumen out of your account. You're now our producer in the project.
Well, what if it becomes kind of like an act of generosity? And so like by participating in this conversation or viewing the conversation, we're sort of, in order to gain access, it's not that we want them to pay us money or we want to pay them money, but I'm wondering, is there a way of reinforcing like some type of cooperative behavioral system or some type of cooperative headspace that sort of brings out generosity, So it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. And in order to do this, I'm going to buy into this way of thinking about things. Yeah.
Yes. The sense of community and of contributing to a community is a very real area to be explored, but we're almost at the stage we don't have a community yet.
Well, this is a community.
Yes, and it's also possible to take actions, within this community that benefit the community, and by that I mean it benefits all the members, and in that, to me, that is a generous motivator.
Well,
But we need to develop a sense of community.
outside of us.
I don't know for this pilot project. I don't know if that's necessary yet, because I see this thing as being compositional anyway, and it may be that just by viewing our art and viewing, has a more expanded field of possibilities in our case. But partaking in our art is in itself, how could that in itself, could this process be the community?
Yes, I think absolutely. I think that's a great idea. The process is the community, and that's the thing. And so it's like we enact the building of this process, which in turn galvanizes more cooperative behavior, right? And that's just the process. And so it's like, it's not that we're trying to create objects as property that are going to create more scarcity. It's like, how does it become generative and create more abundance, and implicating more people in that as art viewers or participants creates more abundance,
Okay, I get it. Yeah. So that's how the process becomes the community. As the process grows and manifests, just by nature, more people have to sort of get into the fold.
Yeah, or have an opportunity to, there's enough. I mean, creating scarcity around something is, I don't know, feels easy to me, and ultimately not that interesting, because I don't know that the project of creating scarcity around art is going to be ultimately successful. Like, people want to do it because they think that they can make money off of their work, but the vast majority of people really aren't going to. And so what are the alternative options? And that's why we were talking to Michael Linton. That's why I'm really interested in what he has to say. But it doesn't change the fact that we still need to instantiate these files. Whose computer are these files saved on? Because I'm not recording them.
Which files?
These video conversations.
These are going on YouTube.
What we could do is just put links to them from the public directory in the project.
But wait, are the files? Are they just being streamed directly to YouTube, so we have to download them off of YouTube, or do you have them locally on your laptop?
Jim, do you save the files?
I have the files on my laptop also.
Okay.
But I have to figure out which ones they are.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Pretty much from the date and time.
Well, I mean, that's another step in the algorithm. If we want to freeze a copy of this video so that it becomes a part of the art, we take any version of the video, download it off YouTube, upload it to the public directory in the team channel. We haven't yet started using the team channel, I don't think.
What's the team channel? Oh, it's in Keybase, the team channel. I saw that.
It's a directory that we can all access at the same time. Gets a little tricky, I guess, but.
Do you use it?
There would be the version of the art that we were referencing in this particular project, and that would be the copy of.
So the files would live in a shared directory in the Teams folder?
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be a cool start. Can we start by Like, well, all right, like this is what I would love to do. Can we take a we understand how to upload files to Keybase. Gary hashed that file, but what I want to look at is this ISCC thing and see if that's worth our time, and or just to, because it seems so interesting, but I'm wondering if it makes sense to use it or just use whatever standard hashing thing exists. Because I know my understanding of hashing is that not all hashing algorithms are the same, and that some
Well, if then you can't use that hashing algorithm, because two different hashing algorithms are going to produce different hashes, and that's the first error that you're looking for. I mean, that's reverse engines immediately if you get a failed hash. Something's wrong if you get a failed hash.
yeah.
According to our rules of our contract.
Yeah, and so because I know some friends of mine were working on this problem like a year ago, and they were just like struggling with trying to. He was really trying to massage the hashing algorithm, to get it to his standards, but I don't think they succeeded. But so this ISCC thing, is this worthwhile for us to see if we can link into that? So like the idea is,
I would like to see you take the same file I looked at in this ISPC and see if you can generate the hash that I came up with. If not, we need to take a longer look and see what's going wrong here.
I don't know how to do that I'm on a Windows computer. Do I need to, do I need to install a terminal like thing? Cause like Windows doesn't have terminal, right? It's DOS.
Well, you just use, is it Windows 10?
Yeah.
Just go to go to your Windows, your Windows thing, the magnifying glass up in the
is it command prompt? Is that what I want to use?
Yeah, I just call it I just call it the type here to search box. Click on that and type get bash in there.
You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So wait, what do I do? Just type in
get bash, and it should pop up. It should offer that to you as
no. The command prompt?
Oh, no. Go to your Windows desktop.
He's got a Mac.
No, I'm on a Windows computer right now.
Go to your.
You can type git bash there, GITBASH.
In my browser.
Yeah. So
in your command window.
Oh, git GIT.
yeah.
Oh, you probably may not have it installed.
I don't have a bash terminal. Here, I'll just screen share.
Oh, it's built into Windows, I think.
So if I go,
No, you have to install Git.
Oh well, then.
I think I have GitHub on here.
Oh, you've got Git bash installed. No, you don't. Okay, Git. Just go to Git. No.
GIT or GET?
GIT. But do it back in your
here?
Yeah.
And then
just Git. No, not GitHub, but go down to Git bash.
And then just download the Windows.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are like glitching out. That's interesting. Do I want to do this? Get from the command line and also from third party.
Yeah. Just take the defaults.
I was trying to learn Git, so I was using that software called Git Fork, because I was trying to version this music file I'm working on with my friend, but I couldn't figure out how to pull a file, do a pull request for the file to the Git server from my Mac.
I'm not surprised. I'm still a rookie at doing pull requests. I'll be honest. I've yet to do a successful pull request.
You want to
Really?
do a clone or a fetch?
I've done that, but I do not know how. I don't understand that part of it. But the interesting thing is, I'm seeing these art objects that we create. I'm starting to look at them sort of like having a source code and then an executable.
Wait, explain.
But I'm not ready to explain yet. Okay, go back to Windows. The Windows.
I'm in the command prompt.
Yeah, just start type Git. Okay, so now type. Okay, you've got a bash now. So. So what is it we were trying to do within the bash?
I was gonna try to hash your file and see if I get the same thing.
With what command?
I don't know. This one?
Yeah.
Do I need the colon?
Cert util. Do you see it down there?
No.
At the almost to the bottom.
Yeah,
that's your you have to that's a git bash command.
But I guess I don't have the file. I have to download the file from Keybase first.
Well, you just go to your go to Keybase.
Are you logged into Keybase?
I'm logged in, but I don't. You have to share it with me again because I'm on a new account.
But that's okay.
What happens if you go to files?
I uploaded 2 of my own files.
Go to double click on that files.
Yeah, and then there's public, private.
Yeah, go to public.
And then I see my folder. I don't have your folder because we're not connected.
Okay, go back. Now go to
People.
those settings. Okay, now go to files. Okay, you got that set. Okay, now go to Windows. Go up to the top of your Windows computer there again. Just go to any one of those file folders. Yeah, open one of those up. Okay,
So
now go down, click on your KBFS.
Yeah, I'm in it. This is it. I've got these 2 files.
Well, double click on it.
On KBFS?
Yeah. Okay, that's public.
Why would I see your file, Gary? We're not connected.
Okay, now you have to go to KBFS and download my file.
Yeah, so how do I get to your, how do I find you?
Okay, hold on.
Do I just type in Gary C? Oh, there, I think that's you. So I'm following you. So you may have like two of me.
Yeah, I've got multiple accounts.
One's probably Eric Barry Drazen and the other is E Drazen.
Yeah, the E-Dracer just followed me, and I'll go click and I'll follow back. Okay, we need to add you to, well, you can add yourself to, let's see. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to go to Keybase. I'm going to go to Files, go to Public. Oh. See. Okay, Eric, you want to go to Keybase. Let me see how I would do that on my computer.
Oh wait, I'm going to your public folder. Oh, here it is. Okay, so now here's the file.
Go to Keybase teams, and then go down to the Rolang team.
But I have your I have the file up
Oh,
here.
you have it now. Okay. Now then try to run the.
So, oh, because with that, because this command K.
Yeah.
Public. When do I stop selecting this?
Let me look. I'm not in the window.
Just before the hash? Should I copy and paste the hash too?
No, just to the PNG there. I think I see you highlighting, right?
Yeah. Is not SHA-2512 is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Interesting. You want to see if I can do it SHA-1 and then see if you can do.
Well, no, it's saying that I have. It's saying that this should work. It's giving me these prompts.
Wait, I think. Oh, wait. Oh.
Am I copying and pasting it wrong?
Let me look. Don't move.
You're supposed to be in Git Bash, not in.
Didn't it enable it to work in the command prompt?
No.
I'm in Git.
You can't type a bash style command in a Windows command window.
But it's letting me do Git commands.
Go back up where you put the command.
They're not working properly.
So
you can't use Git commands here.
So Gary, this was like the last.
So if you run Git Bash now, and then you can run it.
Oh, I have to say it again.
What?
So I'm going to type git bash in and press enter.
No space. Okay, click on the command window and type git bash. You just installed it on the machine.
Yeah, I'm in command prompt.
Now go to the Windows.
Go to the Windows.
There it is. Now you got it. Okay, cool.
Okay, now paste it in there.
Oh no, his paste is not working.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, that's interesting.
Can't you right click?
Copy. Whoa.
Didn't like that.
No?
You copy.
Oh.
You pasted a bunch of lines in there.
Oh, we got the whole thing.
Yeah, right? Should I not be selecting hash file?
Well, there's the hash. 1, 2, second paragraph up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he pasted that in there.
Oh, that's what he pasted. Okay.
So go back up and just do the part to the
Just do the command.
SHA-12.
Oh.
Cert util down to SHA-12.
So just from here down to here?
We're not seeing what you're highlighting, but
Oh, you're not screen sharing with? I'm screen sharing with you.
you're screen sharing, but the highlightings aren't showing up for us if you're highlighting.
Yeah, I'm highlighting. All right, here. Oh,
Okay, there you go. Okay. So what does that end in?
D9, 9D9D.
Okay, you should be able to go up and see the same thing in the one you pasted earlier.
Yeah, yours has 9D9D in it.
Okay, so, you know, we have access to an identical file now in a distributed file system. And I wasn't convinced either until we actually saw it, but I hypothesized that that's what would happen.
As opposed to storing this in the Google Cloud.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, if you upload a file to the Google Cloud, it'll we could all download it and hash it and get the same hash too. Yeah.
Yes, we better be able to.
All right, guys, I need to go because I have another meeting in about half an hour that I need to drive across town for. But this is cool. I guess I like this idea about using these videos. Would be great is if we could start putting them on a public repository, Jim, like a Google Drive or something, just so we can all access them, like the raw file, whatever it is being recorded before it's compressed on YouTube. And then I guess next week we can just look at more of this hashing stuff and figure out. I'd like to just look at the other thing though and see, because it does a lot of other stuff that it may be redundant, like in terms of content tracking.
What are you talking about?
The ISCC.
Yeah, I was trying to look at the standard. And so I should go now too, but if we look at iscc.codes,
Yeah, iscc.codes. I don't know what to make of this. Like, is this legit?
well, the stuff I was reading, it works with a Bitcoin clone, where you clone Bitcoin and make your own blockchain and stuff. I don't know what that has to do with standard codings, but the ISCC specification.
Yeah, why don't
So
we
we,
like,
our homework, I guess, for next time is to read up on this and understand the process.
let's be able to talk. Let's figure out if we want to use this next week. Otherwise, yeah, we can just stick with the regular Git hash for right now.
Well, this,
This sounds closer to a protocol.
Yeah,
this
that's what I'm saying.
This identifies content. Okay, I mean, it's not just a name. It tells you about the content, what it is. Hash doesn't tell you what something is.
Yeah, I mean, this could be useful.
How did you find out about this, Jim?
I guess Eric and I both found out about it from Philip Sheldrake.
Okay.
Oh, Philip was turned on to this?
I think so.
When did you hear about it?
About the time I put it in the Blockchain Art channel.
Yeah, it was like a month ago, maybe. It was posted. Super interesting. So let's look at this next week. All right.
Yeah, I'll spend some time looking at it.
Cool. All right, guys. And then I'll see you guys in the Discord a little bit. I may pop into some other meetings this week, but I'll talk to you all later on down the line.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
See you,
sir.
everybody.
Good session.
Bye-bye.
Bye.